All right. Thank you, Music Posse, for the lead-in and intro. Social friends, audience members coming into this live stream from wherever you may be coming from, which is either on LinkedIn, Facebook, or simply YouTube. Welcome to this episode of Solar Powered Living. For our episode today, I've got a special guest who is kind enough to share her time with me and with you. She and her husband own and operate a family business, and that business is all about solar, helping you as a consumer adopt solar, benefit from solar, and making sure that you realize all of the incentives and savings that come with this new way of living more efficiently and eco-friendly. So with all of that said, let me welcome her into the studio. Olga, let's add you to the conversation. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Before we begin, Olga, for the audience members who may not know you personally, why don't you start with an introduction as to who you are and talk about this family business that I know about and why you are the guest that can certainly speak to some of the topics today.
Yes, so thanks for having me here, Will. So I'm honored, and this business we're here for a mission. We're here to bring solar. First of all, it's a clean source of energy, and make it affordable and make it simple for the customer. So we take all of the problems upon ourselves, and we want to make sure they have low electric bills, they have a nice service, and they have a solar on their home, and they're energy independent with a battery, by the way.
Right.
So yes. So all that's right. Our mission, and we're, our company is operating. It's been in the business for a while, but we just restructured like a year ago, and we're capturing more states, more markets. So we're in like 20 different states.
Oh wow! So even though you are situated here in the greater Chicagoland area, Illinois is simply one of the states that you help consumers with their solar needs, as well as other neighboring states, right?
Correct. Yeah. We are operating in Wisconsin, Indiana, like the neighboring states, and then all the way to Florida, Texas, a lot of possibilities. So we're trying to help as many people as possible.
Right. A lot of possibilities. Why? Because audience members, the sun shines in those other states as well.
Oh, yes. However, Illinois is very, very beneficial for solar. Why? Because there is a lot of state incentives. So there is limited state, because some people, they say, well, maybe in Florida would make more sense. Oh no, it's even cheaper in Illinois because of those state incentives and local incentive, like Comet has an incentive in the state, and then all different type of benefits that add up and make solar so affordable here.
Perfect. And that's a nice tease of a segue to the next part of our conversation, Olga, because I want to ask you, for our consumers, right, for our clients and potential clients, what should they know? What do they really want to know when they're thinking about adopting solar? What are some of those common questions you guys answer and give feedback on?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So you should know something. Obviously, like if your house is a little bit older, we should jump into some questions like how long ago did you change your electrical, like the breaker box? And then how old is your roof? Now, how old is the roof? It could be a new house, it could be an old house. The roof could be old anyway, so that doesn't matter. But typically, if the older is the house, the more problems can appear. So we are, however, taking them very seriously and sometimes even helping the customer solve those problems before moving forward. So, for example, a lot of times we can like do an electrical upgrade or change the meter. And
go ahead.
so, and then we're changing the meter because of that, to make this project possible and to make the customer happy and have an electrical upgrade. So the roof should be new, relatively new. Up to 10 years, let's say. I had cases where at the year number 10, the roof is already very, very old and very bad. We won't be able to install. And then there is very good roofs that in 10 years, they literally like have like very little weather tear off. So it's like, it's almost new. So depending what type of shingles they had, if that was like a job, like a quality job, there's roofs that are gonna live like 30 years, right?
Okay.
And there's roofs that they will live only 15 years. So at the year 10, you won't be able to install. So the roof is number one, electrical is number two. So all of the electrical upgrades, if they did any upgrades, that's good, because the cities, they change regulation from time to time. And so let's say if they changed the regulation 2 years ago, they would want us to upgrade everything accordingly. So when passing the inspection, they will look at all of their electrical stuff. So if anything is not up to date, they won't pass the inspection. So that's where we have to be careful, to make sure all of their electrical is up to code and it's good to run solar on it. And and then the number 3 is credit. If pretty good. We do have different options, different affordable options that they really like take people for as low as like 620s, with a credit score. And a lot of times even people had a lower credit score and they qualified. So it's not really like a huge requirement where you have to have 750 or 800s, but relatively good, let's say so. And credit
and that's regardless of whether the consumer chooses to adopt solar, owning it or leasing it. That's a requirement, right?
Well, that's a good question. So if they want to own it but finance it, then yes, we'll check the credit. But if they want to just purchase it cash, then we don't need any.
True.
They don't need finance. They have their own money. So if we have 500, we don't care.
All right. And from savings and incentive standpoint, would I be correct to say this and know this? Any consumer where their electricity bill may be on average $200 or more, that number alone speaks to the fact that, hey, you might want to consider solar. to reduce that expense, right?
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Typically, when they have a $200 bill, they will see some saving with solar. Now, I don't
Okay.
want to speak about 100% of people, because depending if you have like if you're in the middle of woods, or you have a lot of trees covering your roof and you don't have any empty spaces, that could be a problem.
Okay.
But that, by the way, it's another factor that we need to take in
Good one.
consideration
Good one.
when thinking about solar. However, sometimes, again, we can help with cutting those trees, or depending if it's only one or if it's like 100 of them. Obviously, we won't jump into
Right.
cutting 100 trees, but one, we may be able to help with that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So bottom line, Mother Nature and the sun has to get to the roof. That's what you're kind of saying.
Yes, correct. And then another part, there is cases where the roofs have little to no space available. I'll explain. Like they have a lot of peaks, a lot of stuff. So there is not even one roof plane that's like plain and emptied where we can put solar. That may be a little problem too, because we need to have some space to put that solar in. So I've run into some problems sometimes where I just didn't have the space to put solar. But it's very rare. Typically, we'll find something. Now, the best side is also south. So we're looking ideally for south. West and east is good too. We try to avoid north as much as possible. Okay. However, in some instances, it may be okay if there is no trees and the roof pitch is not very steep. So let's say if it's not a steep roof, then we may be working with that one too, but typically we try to avoid north.
Okay. Well, with all of what you shared with this first question, you certainly have demonstrated to me you've seen a lot of different situations, and that's why there's all of these what ifs that you help a consumer plan ahead as to whether it's a yes, it's a go, or we have to work through some of these other issues first.
Yes. So I always like to give everybody a chance. So even if I see it's a 70% no, I'll still say, well, let's give it a try. We'll do this service for you for free, a consultation, like a check of the home, at least a checkup, at least what's the problem. Because I've run into a lot of customers that just the consultant didn't take enough time to understand where is the problem. They saw that there is a problem, but if you're not sending in a specialist, hey, an electrician, for example, to check it out, or a roofer, like to see, well, maybe we can fix it, So I always like to give a chance and to help that customer. And a lot of times this pays out and we are able to figure out a solution. In 90% of the cases. But I'll say like initially, maybe like 40% of the cases we couldn't qualify. Yeah. But if you would try to work it out, we can push another 20 to 30%.
I think that's why when I was introduced to you, how you and your family business operates and runs resonated with me, because just like my business, you and I share one thing in common, which is the secret. It's not a big secret, but the real secret to successful outcomes is all of the preparation and planning upfront.
Yes.
Yeah. So true. Yes. So true. Let's now talk about, in your opinion, Olga, who makes up this ideal solar dream team? So it starts with you. I've heard that already. But besides you, what are some of the other professions?
Well, of course, there is a whole team behind. It's not only me. So obviously, like the solar consultant is the first person you talk to, and is the person that's going to walk you through the process from the beginning through the end, and it's going to text you happy birthday even, at your birthdays. You kind of gonna become friends. But that's the first person, yeah, you should have a pleasant experience with. And
Right.
then after that, you obviously gonna see a site surveyor that's gonna come and check your house, inspect the house, and make sure. They typically just take pictures and make sure that everything is okay with your house. They send it in to the electrician and to the engineer, and then behind the computer there's an engineer looking at everything and an electrician that's gonna excuse me, apologize, that's gonna work on your project and make sure that everything is well over there. And after the site survey, electrician, engineer, we send everything to the customer. Once he approves the final design, we move into permitting, and there is a whole permitting team that's preparing the design. It's a lot of paperwork. It's design, engineering, obviously, again, and then preparing for permitting. There's a lot of documents that you have to prepare. So typically there is 2-3 people working on that to make it fast, obviously, because this whole project could take 3 months. Why? Because it's a lot of steps that we need to make. Once we prepare for permitting, we apply for homeowners association, for city, and then there is an application for ComEd, which is the utility here, and for Illinois, because Illinois gives out some incentives, so we gotta be careful with that one. It's a lot of information that we need to take care of when filling out that application. So yeah, obviously, once we do everything, once the permit comes ready, there is the installation team.
Got it.
Installation team comes. Obviously, there is like 4 to 5 people, which 2 of them usually work at the electrical next to the meter, connecting the meter, and then there's 3 people usually working on the roof. So to make it as fast as possible for the customer, we usually do an install during 1 day. Now, if they do have a backup battery, that may require 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
Because backup battery is just a lot of work to
connect that up.
Yeah, correct. But
Yeah.
then the customer, I love backup batteries because I love having them because you're energy independent. If you have solar panels and then you have a backup battery along with it, like you don't care about any like storms. Like it's been yesterday, by the way.
That's right. Yeah, that's
So
right.
your house is self-sufficient. Most of the cases is gonna work by itself. So which is great. This is what I love about solar.
Okay. All right. Let's now shift the conversation to helping those consumers be prepared in this way. And that is, what if someone is about to sell a property with solar panels on it already? And the other side of the coin is those consumers who may be buying a property with solar panels on it already. In your opinion, running a solar business and being the conductor of all of these different specialists and professions, what should sellers and buyers need to know right now today?
Yes, so it's a good question because a lot of people like hesitating here. Well, what if I sell my property? How the new buyer is going to look at it? So it is a good question that almost all of the solar potential customer or current customer are asking us. It's good to know when you're selling a house with solar, it's good to talk again to your consultant, to go back to your consultant, call the consultant and say, hey, I'm selling my house. What do I need to know? Because
Right.
you may be forgetting some information along the way. Because if you did solar 10 years ago, it's good to refresh. That's 100% good. And it's actually, I would say it's mandatory when you have solar. Why? Because there is somebody that's working in this field every day. And it's not going to take them long to just tell you, hey, just make sure when you sell your house, you know that if you're on a lease and you still have like 10 years remaining, you still have insurance of the solar system, you still have maintenance. So when you're going to be transferring that contract, you're going to be transferring that insurance and maintenance. So the new homeowner needs to know that, because they will only look at the price, but they'll think, well, there is a lot of risks, there is a lot of yeah, but you have insurance, maintenance. So also you could show them an electric bill, an old electric bill,
Oh,
even if
yeah.
it's 10 years ago.
Right.
Hey, because everybody needs to pay electricity. Either
Right.
they'll pay that electric bill, or they'll pay the solar, which is, if it's a lease, let's say,
That's
which
right.
is half of that or even less. So obviously, like, once they know that, it's easier to make a decision, or to even. But yeah, I will say there is questions. There is going to be an extra question when you're going to sell your house. What's
Yeah.
up with the solar? So you have to know what benefits you have, because if no, obviously the buyer is going to use it against you, which shouldn't be this way, honestly, because
Right.
as long as you know what you have, if they already are interested in your house, they can say, like, remove the solar. Come on, if you have an in-ground pool, and the new buyer is offering your house, is giving you an offer, it's not going to say, remove me the in-ground pool. I mean, you sold these houses with solar panels, right? You
Right.
should have thought before. So
Right. Right.
yeah, obviously buyers are going to try to use anything against you, but you just don't have to let them, because
Yeah.
especially if it's a purchase, like you purchase them and it's all paid off. I mean, you leave them with free electricity, especially if they have a backup battery. Imagine those backup batteries cost $10,000, $15,000. You
Right.
leave them that backup battery. That's even should raise the price for depending how much is the utility at that time. But they will have free energy, so they don't have a right to say, well, lower the price. As long as everything is okay with the installation.
Right. Right.
Inspector should look, make sure there's no leaking and stuff. So as long
Right.
as everything is good, and they have a good solar panels functionable system, there shouldn't be an issue.
That's good to know. So for those of you who are watching this live stream, either live or as a recording, and I'm calling out to each of you who may be considering adopting solar. And if you are leaning toward adopting solar where you want to own it, and whether or not you have some of your cash funds to purchase solar, or you need to consider finding a way to finance it, let me drop and share this with you. From my company, as a mortgage professional, we offer a solar down payment assistance solution. We call it our Solar Boost program. This is where you can own your installation of solar with Olga's help and all of her resources. And we assist you in not just owning solar, but if you're buying a real estate property at the same time, through all of these incentives, this is one easy way to come up with your minimum down payment for buying the property. So with all of this said, Olga, thank you for joining me today
Thank
in
you.
this episode of Solar Powered Living. Audience members, as I ask my music posse to play us out, you may be wondering, asking, hey, how can I get more of my questions answered? How can I follow up with you, Bill? How can I reach out to Olga? We're going to make it really simple right now. All you need to do is simply scan the QR code that you see here, and I will gladly connect you to Olga and her team, as well as answer any outstanding questions that you have from today's episode. So, Music Posse, play us out. See you all in the next episode of Solar Powered Living.